week. I'm joined by Ryan Heath, who's the political editor at Politico Europe in Brussels. Ryan, how important is this summit for the future of Europe?
We really are at an inflection point in Europe's history, so it is very important. What we've got now is a strong group of populist, angry governments. We've seen them in their ones or their twos before, not in their handfuls. So it's going to be a very different dynamic around the summit table when you have a very big country like Italy that's helping to drive the agenda. And possibly most importantly, this is a very tough summit for Angela Merkel. If she doesn't show that she has got some new bilateral agreements or a Europe-wide agreement on how she can reduce the numbers of migrants arriving in Germany, potentially her days as Chancellor are numbered. Everyone thinks we're now in the end game of Angela Merkel's chancellery. And so that is going to bring a whole new dynamic to Europe for the long term if we do see her booted out between this summit and the next one. So it's going to be a very, very tense migrant debate, but there are also going to be tough debates on how to handle Donald Trump, how to handle the NATO summit, how to handle Brexit tomorrow, and whether the EU really can complete the reform of its Eurozone, the Euro single currency. So it's almost the mother of all summits. We're not going to go to bed early tonight, that's for sure.
Well, and on that migrant crisis and the division among EU leaders on that subject, could this spell the end of the Schengen free travel, passport-free area as we know it?
I think that's unrealistic. I think that Schengen is dear to the heart of everyone around that summit table, or nearly everyone around the heart of that summit table. So probably that is not going to happen. But if you don't see the formation of a much stronger border guard through the agency Frontex, if there's not a better system for search and rescue that sees countries like Italy more supported, then I think that you're going to see real questions about how effective that system is. So you're going to start to see the breakdown of the official system and the laws, and you're going to start to see more vigilante actions or individual actions from nations like Italy and Malta. So I wouldn't say that the whole system is going to unravel, but it is going to mean that we start to see a very different reality on those frontline countries.
And one of the other solutions that's been touted is this idea of these regional disembarkation platforms and processing centres in the countries of origin, or at least on North Africa. What about those? Do you think that's realistic?
I think that's one of the more realistic points of agreement around the summit table. Whether we can move from agreeing at the summit table to implementing them in those countries in North Africa, in those other countries around Europe, I don't know whether that's realistic, because I'm not sure Europe is willing to put enough money on the table to finance them. We've seen this model before in Australia since 2001. Australia has had a very expensive policy of turning back any boats that come towards it with refugees and asylum seekers, and it pays the countries and the islands around Australia to process those people, sometimes at a cost of up to 1 million per refugee. So when you look at the numbers that are coming into Europe at the moment, or were coming in 2015, 2016, that's not a few hundred million, it's not a few billion, it's tens and hundreds of billions. And they're not the numbers that are going to be discussed at the summit. So the idea is one that does have strong support, but there are big questions about whether it can really be implemented.
Questions that we're hoping will be answered over the next 2 days. Ryan Heath from Politico, thank you very much.